Welcome to Slash Forward. In this episode, we're continuing with New Line's reimagineering of the Jason Voorhees series with Jason X, the X of the series. Let's get to it. We open on a rather confusing credit sequence. It appears they're trying to show Jason's return from hell, with some implications of surgical procedures and hardware installments, but when we cut to the big man, he's just Houdini'd up in the middle of this strange room. The room happens to be in the Crystal Lake Research Facility and is a staging point before he's transported to a cryogenic freezing chamber. The lone guard assigned to watch him decided that his haircut reminds him too much of Christopher Walken, and it's starting to weird him out. As the officials make their way to him, we get some expositional conversation in which Dr. Cronenberg explains that Jason is basically Wolverine, because the fanbase was really craving another explanation of his survivability. They approach the specimen and remove the shroud to discover that Jason did, in fact, pull a Houdini, and the implications of this dawn on them a moment too late as we're treated to an action-adventure-style mass murder sequence. Rowan is the lucky sole survivor and appears to hope Jason won't notice her if she just doesn't look at him and walks off casually. Unfortunately, this doesn't work out for her, but she does manage to force him into the chamber and send him to sleepy time. Unfortunately for her, he breaches the cardboard containment door in her body with his machete. The facility goes into lockdown, causing the whole room to go into stasis, leaving her only a moment to hope that she's not unfrozen before they've discovered a cure for abdominal stab wounds. An unknown amount of time later, the chamber is discovered by a group of steampunk Morlocks who uncover both the statue of Jason and find Rowan among the detritus. Recognizing that they've initiated the thawing process, they have to get her back to the ship quickly. However, they're briefly stalled when Dingus knocks over the frozen Jason and manages to sustain a flesh wound. On the way back, we learn that Earth is a barren wasteland. The ship is staffed by a crew of alien-style space jockeys. People in the future dress like idiots, and they have nanobot technology, which solves most problems. They manage to revive Rowan and almost immediately drop a bomb on her when they tell her the year is 2455. But don't worry, they make her feel better by awkwardly staring at her. Professor Lowe immediately runs off to his fence to discuss the new discoveries. 400-year-olds are old news, but he somehow knows everything about Jason Voorhees and implies that that specimen may actually go for a decent amount of gold-pressed latinum. At that very moment, Jason is having his hockey mask very carefully removed by Adrian, who went to the trouble of donning latex gloves but left her midriff bare. Jason is slowly warmed up by his inner rage, but plays possum until an errant orgasm tickles his ballsack, causing him to wake up for a fun science experiment involving Adrian's face. Oh, do a banana next! He then stalks the halls with the pinnacle of 25th century slashing technology, the reverse machete. To think we were so close to getting it right. Meanwhile, Rowan is explaining exactly why Jason is so dangerous, recounting the Rasputin-like failures to execute him. Confident in their advanced technology, they reveal that Jason is on board but totally under control. A quick visit to Adrian's lab reveals their hubris, causing them to scramble in response to the now-present threat. Jason is drawn to the sex musk left in the wake of the aforementioned orgasm. He stabs the young man, causing him to appear so sad. The science officers notify the Grunts, a group of Space Marine-style characters that are an amalgamation of characters from every Alien movie past and future. They all grab their space guns and space armor and go gallivanting through the space corridors, at times with guns that would be much more intimidating if the flashlight part and the urethra part were switched. Jason sneaks up on Danny McBride, but the wrecking crew shows up to save him.
What the hell's going on here?
There's some shooting going on. They then sneak off to try to get the drop on Jason, but fail miserably and get picked off themselves one by one, with some cool effects like this neck snap, and then this giant corkscrew. Once the last grunt takes his eyes off Jason for a moment, it's down to the Sarge, who doesn't fare much better. Now they're all on their own, but quickly approaching Solaris and another 60 grunts. Unfortunately, the group is left to observe on the monitors as the now pilotless ship quickly approaches, reaches, and then proceeds directly through Solaris, the apparent result of the ship being made of a much sturdier material. But hey, no time for pessimism.
It's alright, we just overshot it, we'll turn around and go back.
Playtime's over as Jason bursts through the glass behind them. The crew runs off, leaving Professor Lowe behind. But it's all good, he solves the puzzle of Jason's murderous rage.
It's okay, he just wanted his machete back!
They regroup and devise a plan for escape. The ladies are going to prep the shuttle while KM-14 becomes Sexbot verified, and Crutch heads off to make the necessary manual preparations from inside the ship. He does his job, but doesn't make it back to the shuttle. Then Kinza freaks the freak out and tries to pilot the shuttle away without our friends, and without detaching the fuel lines, crashing into the very sturdy ship. Jason now confronts the remaining crew, who are protected by a killbot confirmed KM, after she's been upgraded in every way other than her terrible and awful haircut. Even so, she manages to fully destroy him with flipsy-doos, triple gainers, and an unlimited ammo cheat. With a little time to breathe, they then give the Sarge, recently found out to be only mostly dead, a nanobath, while Janessa chooses scenery.
Oh no, 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 no.
They're able to connect with another ship that's headed their way. Since the core is about to detonate, they come up with the classic plan of placing charges between the hull and the remaining pontoon, thus blowing them apart, allowing them to either be saved or ride that bitch into infinity. While this is going on, Jason is getting his own nanobath, but with some trouble. And don't worry though, they have an algorithm for that. See? Machine learning. They're visited by Jason, but manage to blow the charges. When visited by Jason again from outside the ship, Janessa's acting is the first to go. They make it to the final hatch, but it needs to be activated from outside. So the Sarge goes on a spacewalk while KM creates a holodeck diversion for Jason, recreating a classic kill but with comedic undertones. They manage to make it out just in time, Jason being waylaid by the Sarge, who, in defiance of physics and common sense, manages to both survive the explosion and pull off an intercepting trajectory that then also redirects them back toward this nearby planet. The survivors then watch in relief and reverence as he rides Jason into the upper atmosphere like Slim Pickens. And that was the 10th film and the final of these experimental reboots, a film that tends to rank either really high or really low on most people's lists. I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.